Welcome to Unacademy. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Success Sampath interacting with you. Do you want to crack UPSC Civil Service Examination and want to become topper? We Unacademy, with top dedicated educators and meticulously designed quality content. Once you enroll here, you will undergo a great learning experience. You know well, Unacademy, India's largest and the best online education platform. Once you get Plus subscription and you can have access to unlimited live and recorded courses from India's best educator. What are all the benefits you get once you enroll here? Yes, you got daily live classes, you can chat with your educator, and you can also engage in all-round productive discussions, and you can ask your genuine doubts, and you can also participate in the answer polls. All these things happen while attending the sessions. See, this Unacademy has got structured courses in alignment with the syllabus of various examination pattern, so that you never get deviated from the expected track. And beyond that, you got evaluation path, live tests and quiz programs, and beyond that, the detailed report on the basis of the analysis of your performance, where you are strong, where you are weak, even the time you have taken in solving a question. The unlimited access, once subscription you enter into, you get unlimited access to all the live and recorded courses, and you can watch from anywhere, anytime, according to the availability of your devices. So what I have to do, if you ask me, let me tell you, you have to download Unacademy learning app to enjoy all these benefits at once. Whether it is Android or iOS, you can download immediately so that you avail the benefits. Who is this interacting with you? Yes, this is Success Sampath. I am from Chennai. I've got the unique experience of exposed to engineering, management, and legal education. With 25 years of experience in coaching for UPSC Civil Service Examination, in shaping the careers. So that, I witnessed because of that particular process, 250 plus results as IAS, IPS, IRS, and IFS officials working throughout India and different parts of the world. What is the vision, if you ask me? My vision is to provide career solution by enabling Indian youths. Fortunately, it's in alignment with Unacademy. So we are working together to shape you so that you realize your dream. And not only that, you got other top educators on the part of Unacademy. You will definitely benefit once you enroll yourself. And more than 15,000 courses meant for UPSC Civil Service Examination, whether it is NCERT or subject-wise module or time duration based module, even answer writing exercises, the practice and everyday current affairs. So once you enroll, you get a lot of benefits. As I said, you got time duration based modules, maybe month, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. And apart from that, the UPSC Civil Service Examination, you got two levels of program. One is called Plus program, another one is Iconic program. What is this Plus program? If you ask me, you got live classes, test series, unlimited practice sessions, and beyond that, structured schedule. These are all the benefits you avail once you join for the Plus program, whether it is for 1 year or 2 years accordingly. Once you enroll yourself for 1 year program, you end up paying mere 39,600 rupees once you use my referral code, SUCCESS. This is what the very purpose for which you are here, right? The SUCCESS, once you that use this referral code, you will get definitely 10% discount. Not only here, even if you join 24 months or 2 years program, you can also go for once again using my referral code SUCCESS. You end up paying mere 57,600 rupees. So technically speaking, you end up paying mere 2,667 rupees per month. But I strongly recommend you to go for iconic program. In addition to that of the plus advantages, you got special advantage on the part of this iconic program. Yes, you will be allotted a personal coach, a mentor, and he will take care of all round needs of yours vis-a-vis the preparation. It may be the daily mains question and answer practice, or even suggesting study planner according to your nature, or maybe giving you then and there personalized feedback. Here too you have 12 months program, 24 months program. So once you enroll using my referral code success, let me repeat, success, you get again 10% discount, so that you end up paying mere 57,600 for 1 year program. But if it is for 24 months or say 2 years program, after availing discount using my referral code success, you end up paying 89,100. I heavily recommend, strongly recommend this particular iconic program, because so if you want to be part of UPSC Civil Service, going to work for 25 to 30 years, won't you spend your next 2 years, especially under iconic program? All the very best. We are interacting today with a purpose. What is that purpose? And we are going to discuss about international relations. The international relations, and I'm going to give you introduction and its relevance in UPSC Civil Service Examination. And beyond that, what is the syllabus for this international relations, say IR, in the prelims examination or in the main examination. In mains, not only in written, even it's going to benefit you in the oral interview. The stand what you are going to take based on various issues happening at the global level or in the neighborhood, extended neighborhood. Definitely, by getting exposed to this international relations, you're going to score good marks, let me assure you. And what are all the resources to be consulted if you want to touch the core of this preparation? So these are all the points we are going to discuss in this, the short duration of our interaction. What is international relations? If you ask me, it is that like two individuals interacting, two nations interacting, two state as a nation interacting, accordingly the outcome. This is what the core principle of international relation, and maybe the outcome of the interaction, maybe the consequences, all round consequences of interacting nations at the regional level, global level. We are going to discuss everything. So let me introduce you this international relations, part of UPSC Civil Service Examination. What is international relations? Yes, it is study about state. Can you please tell me what is state? Have you heard anywhere? I'm not talking about the subsidiary unit part of any nation. We call the state of Tamil Nadu, state of Gujarat, state of Uttar Pradesh. It's not like that. When you say state, it's a nation which has got its own important elements. We call that a population, the first element. Then there should be a government governing that population. Then this particular population governed within a particular territorial area, and that particular state has got its own sovereign power, not depending on foreign nations. And beyond that, that particular state should be recognized by other nations in the world as a state. Because here what we are talking about, whether Tibet is part of China, or are you recognizing Tibet as a separate nation, or Taiwan as a part of China, or is it separate nation, or whether do you recognize the two nations theory of Israel Palestine, or do you recognize Israel or Palestine? So this is what recognition by other nations, that it is a state. So all these elements put together called state. It's a nation. When all these nations interacting, the outcome, the consequences, it may be the different nations coming together over a particular issue for a particular purpose, and to be part of the solution, or sometimes it may end up in conflict too. This is what the history has seen. This is what we are going to witness. So, international relations is all about the relationship or relations between or among the nations and its outcome accordingly. The consequences we are going to discuss. You know very well, we human society, the whole human society has been divided in terms of different nationalities. As you see on the surface of the earth, you see the different nations, different continents, the 7 continents. Of course, you know that you talk about different countries in each and every continent. More than 190 plus countries in the world we are talking about, different nationalities. The whole human society otherwise divided in terms of nationalities or communities. So the nation states, the interrelationship existing among different nationships, the nation states, we call ultimately international relations. What is the relevance of this international relations or role of this particular subject, international relations, in your preparation, especially the UPSC Civil Service Examination? Yes. You know, this nature of interaction, just now we spoke, the interrelationship, the relationship among different nations, it is not that absolute, it is not same from time immemorial, from ancient times to till date, from time memorial till date. We are talking about, we are living in the world now, post globalization you speak, neoliberalization you speak, it's not uniform. It underwent that variety of that changes, and and those world war, we are talking about World War One, World War Two, and the post Cold War, of course, prior to that Cold War, and we are talking about the brainchild of the that the post Cold War, of course, globalization. And even in the globalization, we are talking about that liberalization, privatization, and first generation, second generation, third generation reforms, the capitalist economy, socialistic economy. So we are talking about all these things, and beyond that, the challenges, from different aspects of the living society, maybe the natural hazards, environmental hazards we are talking about, maybe the pandemic situations, epidemic, outbreak of epidemic. Today we are undergoing the COVID-19, the situation. It is that way from ancient to modern times, that, and beyond that, imperialist era, fascism, and we change from monarchy to democracy. Today we are talking about direct forms of democracy, plebiscite, referendum. Even Mark Zuckerberg talking about, why can't we vote? Why can't we exercise democracy by voting online? So all this, transformation we are talking about. And it's not only the diseases, endemic, pandemic, that has completely shattered, and even the nature sometimes, that enforcing its authority, and the conflict between two different races, two different nations, two different regions, maybe religious fundamentalism, and beyond that, all these things we are talking about. There comes another threat from technology. So that this nature of interaction among the nations underwent a phenomenal transformation. So the world war, they're talking about the imperialistic tendencies, hegemonic tendencies, the conflict, that outcome of that particular interaction. Today we are loving peace, we want peace. Even most of the institutions came up later, the international organization, regional organization, the ultimate agenda became peace, peace loving, peaceful, amicable living. Even India, for that purpose, our Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru evolved Panchsheel policy. That is the bedrock for non-aligned movement of nations. When the world was undergoing Cold War, we do not want to take sides. It is that way. So this nature of interaction underwent phenomenal transformation. Yes. So in spite of all this transformation, the very recent impact, what we are living, what we are undergoing, the COVID pandemic situation, apart from various casualties, the way with which international relations, a subject matter, looks at in different angle. It may be the origin, the Wuhan, but there came politics, international politics. even the Trump, the POTUS, United States of America president, gone to the extent of saying the Chinese pandemic, Chinese origin, Wuhan. Otherwise, even the accusation, even India also joined the court to say the World Health Organization did not respond properly. Otherwise, we started questioning the very structure of World Health Organization. It is that way. So the situation, it's not the problem. How do we respond? How different nations from different regions viewing that particular the problem? So that comes ultimately, the conflict. Already, the trade war going on between the very United States of America and China, the trade war we are talking about. And this COVID situation ultimately, added fuel to that. And the very international and the institutions undergoing phenomenal change, thanks to our own representation, the international institution, that we could send our own, Mrs. Soumya Swaminathan, as well as Mr. Harshvardhan, Dr. Harshvardhan especially. So, in this situation, the post-Cold War era, because, the United States of America was, Uncle Sam was a strong leader. Now they are, ultimately going down. And China's rise we are talking about, because that's why the 21st century for Asia. Otherwise, let me put this way. When 19th century for, Europe, the 20th century for, of course, that the United States of America, but 21st century is meant for Asia, especially China and India. Of course, we have got our own difference with China in terms of its own GDP or democracy or human rights standards and different, the parameters we are going to discuss. But 22nd century is going to be for Africa. This is what the shift, paradigm shift we are talking about. So when the United States of America is falling down and China's rise, how the world is going to cope up with? Is it going to be the Cold War 2.0 between US and China? Or US coming down to embrace China so that have peaceful, amicable world? So there we are talking about hard power, soft power, smart power. These are all the concepts we are going to discuss. Coming back to this, I see the conflict between USA and very China. Apart from trade war, the pandemic induced situation, even how India responded, well, ultimately, and given the situation, they betrayed us. They encroached our borders once again. The unreliable neighborhood we have. Ultimately, we started, imposing ban on apps, the Chinese apps, very well. It is that way. So it is not the problem. It is how all the nations responding to the problem. That may differ from nation to nation, region to region. So this is, current situation we are talking about. So the ramification we are talking about otherwise. Let me emphasize the process of peace. If there is no peace, there is no economic development. If there is no peace, there will be utter confusion in the world. When there is confusion, chaos, how come a nation or a particular region can work towards economic development so that they can meet the needs of its own people, whether it is basic amenities, roti, kapda, makan, or bijli, sadak, pani, whatever it may be. To meet the needs, you need economic development. For that, peace is a prerequisite. Then only there will be happiness. So this international relations, what we are talking about, where we have to take into account, from paradigm shift, from conflict to peace. All nations now heading towards peace, tired of conflict, tired of internal strife, tired of religious fundamentalism, tired of colonization, tired of imperialism, tired of economic exploitation in the name of globalization, tired of to some extent consumerism, tired of all-round environmental degradation, tired of gender injustice, tired of poverty, tired of illiteracy, tired of unemployment. We work towards now peace. This paradigm shift, whether it is international organization or regional organization, maybe part of any blocks or unions form, or any nation participating in those efforts, this is what the paradigm shift you witness from conflict to peace, because peace is a prerequisite for the prosperity of any nation or any region. Finally, the goal. The world is one family where all members can live happily. It is that way. So, this paradigm shift after that, because we were emphasizing the peace, I think, it's very appropriate place to recall the people's president of India, Dr. Kalam, Dr. Abdul Kalam, when he was participating in the European Union Parliament, especially the year 2007, he started linking otherwise how individuals are connected with global peace. You can't simply shy away from your responsibility. No, it's all the business of that nations or international organization. No, even as an individual you got your own role in global peace. How? That's why he says, where there is righteousness in the heart, there is beauty in the character. When there is beauty in the character, there is harmony in home. When there is harmony in home, there is order in the nation. When there is order in the nation, there is peace in the world. You just see the righteousness in the heart of an individual linked with order of the nation, linked with peace in the world. This is the principle. It is not the stakeholders, not only nations, nation governments or international organization, regional organization, even that social groups, different corporates. That's why corporate social responsibility we are talking about. Multinational companies, different communities, religious communities or linguistic communities, or different that social groups, especially primary, secondary, that maybe a family or associations, trade unions, or as an individual, you, I, everybody part of this global peace. Hope you understood. Thanks to Dr. Kalam linking an individual, especially individuals' righteousness with the global peace. Because history is nothing but history of few individuals. The individuals with righteousness or dharma in the heart, leading to global peace. Now, we are talking about it's not only post-globalization era, neoliberalism era, it is also a modern, a globalized age, the technologically driven world, because the technology controls. You may be superpower, you may be global power. Ultimately, technology is the answer. Let me put this way. See, there is no next level without innovation. There is no next level without technology. You know well. The international peace or international challenges, not from the power blocks, not from the powerful nations, but from few simple individuals who have got access to technology. I think the world has witnessed already the name of Julian Assange, Edward Snowden, who have got access to technology, control over technology. They are capable of manipulating the outcome of international relations, the WikiLeaks, all those stories. The global peace, the world peace, the global order is threatened, that is not by the global powers or powerful nations in the world, but by few powerful individuals who've got access to the technology. Forget about that. Even Mark Zuckerberg, you are talking about, the Facebook, he connected the world. He achieved connecting the communities. Of course, he is not free from criticism, through Cambridge Analytica, how our data has been misused for political outcomes. That's totally different scenario. Even national governments, whether it is United States of America, other nations, they took advantage of this technology in indulging in snooping, cyber snooping. So we are living in the world of big data, robotics, artificial intelligence. So it is ultimately, it's a very pathetic situation, all these advanced technologies, when they are falling in the hands of radical elements, religious fundamentalists. You just imagine, even the nuclear technology, when they fall in the hands of these radical elements, you just think about the challenges we are likely to encounter, or global peace. So the technology, double-edged sword, it can take us to the next level, or sometimes that if it is not properly, rightly utilized, it may go against the very purpose of living. So there comes the perverts. Of course, education, as Mahatma Gandhi put it, education without humanity, education without value system. That we talk about ultimately. So what are all the challenges by these, that innovations, modern technologies posing threat, or whether they are bringing nations together or going against the very purpose of peaceful and amicable living. So when all these nations coming together, interacting, ultimately we talk about evolving of the international state system. International state system, let me repeat. Otherwise, the multilateral world. No more, bipolar world like Cold War era. US on the one hand, USSR on the one hand, because of the collapse of USSR. That got reduced to Russia now. The unipolar world we witnessed the post-Cold War era. Today we are talking about multipolarity as a slogan. Even India working very hard, even European Union, most of the nations are favoring this multipolar world, where each and every nation has got its own say in the global affairs. In this multipolar world, the international state system that has been created, there comes another challenge. Is it ultimately destroying the sovereignty of individual nation? The moment you become, signatory to the multilateral treaties, whether it is WTO or Kyoto Protocol, whatever may be the aspects, are you losing your sovereignty? So these are all the issues we are encountering. It is very happy to say that we are evolved the multipolar world, multipolarity on the part of the interactional system in the part of international relations. It has got other side of the coin. Is nation losing its sovereignty? There were a lot of questions like that because of the globalization, the foreign direct investment, public sector disinvestment we are talking about, the world ultimately except some 90 multinational companies, and sometimes their budget that may be going beyond the budget of few nations in the world. So it's ultimately threatening the states, the nations sometimes. Because that is globalization, that ruining, destroying the domestic industries. Otherwise, is globalization reducing the people to mere consumers because production carried out somewhere in the capitalistic world. So all these challenges on the part of multipolar world, the international state system we evolved, that we are going to discuss in detail in future sessions. Right. Just now we spoke about that the impact on domestic population. Nothing wrong when all different nations coming together, of course working towards international state system, the multipolar world. Thanks, fantastic. But the point is how, in what way it is going to affect the domestic population of that particular nation. So especially maybe the historical reasons or political or socio-economic consequences we are talking about. See, the most of the times, that in our interaction with China, all democratic nations, that we also join the chorus sometimes to accuse, China, saying that it's not a democratic nation, it's a communist country. They are not transparent. What the data provide, it's unreliable. Sometimes we suspect, even Napoleon gone to the state of saying, that there is a tiger showing China, yellow tiger, yellow race, saying that there is a tiger which is sleeping. We don't know when it will wake up. When it wakes up, it will shake the world. Even Nehruvian era, the invasion, 1962. And there also we get the reports, right? There is, the internal conflict between government on the one hand, army on the other. Because when the Chinese premier was received by our Prime Minister Modi, when he was, interacting with Modi in Sabarmati Ashram, there, ultimately intrusion from China in the northernmost parts. So the unreliability from the neighborhood especially. And that's why, most of the people, even the former Union Minister George Fernandez said once, that, so Pakistan is not our enemy, China is number one enemy. These are all the statements. The relationship when we engage with in our neighborhood or even the extended neighborhood like Central Asian countries or with other superpowers, in what way it is going to benefit India, Indian people? In what way it is going to, that take us to the next level, or it's going to, affect us all around. So all these, evaluation, the consequences, this, end justifies means. There is a saying, end justifies the means. we have to choose means in such a way so that it never goes against our ends, our purpose. Right. So these are all the situations we are talking about on the part of, especially the relevance of international relations. And what happens, sir? Hitherto we are talking about, yes, sir, poverty, unemployment, gender injustice, yes, sir, environmental degradation, the weapons of threat from weapons of mass destruction, or threat from technology, or maybe cyber crime, cyber snooping. We are under surveillance. And the pandemic, that outbreaking of epidemics, pandemics, a natural disaster, or conflict between that two religions, maybe the conflict of civilization we call, between two religions, between two nations, two regions. These are all the issues. So ultimately what happened, whether it is part of millennium development goals or sustainable development goals, the international relations, the international state system, the multipolar world tried in many ways so as to be so as to reach the solution, especially so that they evolve sustainable development goals over the period. So how, in what way each and every nation is meeting. There are some nations like that Scandinavian countries gone to the extent of meeting those by 90% of sustainable goals by 2030, but United States of America maybe by 70%, and there are nations yet to reach that level. This is what the diversity, and given their economic resources, given their domestic issues, and they have to come out. So all these things, to be part of the solution, international fora, the multilateral fora over the time evolved various measures to be part of the solution so as to provide, that fixing of all these issues, so that nation, otherwise, so that the very humanity benefits out of it moves to the next level. So this is the thing, measures we are going to discuss, in what way India meets all those sustainable development goals, what may be, whether in prelims or mains. You're going to witness the questions centered around our discussion this way. I think you would have got relevance of so far the very international relations in UPSC Civil Service, but to be precise, we have to expose you to the real syllabus of UPSC in international relations for preliminary examination. This is what a single line, from that you take the hue. The first line of the prelim syllabus, which says current events of national and international importance. Current events of international importance. What you read in your newspaper every day. The syllabus, we are going to elaborate further. This is what the syllabus of your prelims when it comes to IR. What about main examination? In mains, well, the GS 1 to 4, the paper 2 especially, which has got governance, constitution, polity, social justice, and international relations. Here you got for 50 marks. You every year you get, that in the main examination you get around 4 questions, 50 marks, for which you got stuff here. When we talk, we are going to elaborate further. And this is what the syllabus, the bilateral, regional, global groupings, and agreements involving India or affecting India's interests. And you talk about the India and its neighborhood relations, even extended neighborhood, the Central Asia part of it. The neighborhood may be by land, by sea, up to Maldives we are talking about. And important international institutions, United Nations Organization and other agencies, the twins of Bretton Woods Conference we are talking about, maybe International Monetary Fund, World Bank, and even the World Health Organization, and the International Code of Justice, International Labour Organization, the various agencies, the fora, the structure, the mandate, and beyond that, the effect of policies and politics of developing countries on India's interests. And beyond that, Indian diaspora, in what way are people, the non-resident Indians, overseas citizens, that getting affected because of that. So it is that way. This is what your UPS. So far we spoke in general about international relations. Now it is to the point. In UPSC Civil Service Examination, this is what the syllabus in prelims and mains. We are going to elaborate further to be more precise. Yes, the international relations syllabus in prelims. Just now we say the current events of national, forget about that, current events of international importance. What is this? Well, the prelims objective type questions. Here you get very simple and straightforward questions. It is not in-depth or analytical oriented like main examination. The simple and straightforward, maybe testing your clarity, sometimes factual, and normally you used to get 10 to 12 questions. In 2019, you got only 5 questions. Well, you're going to make mere shading in prelims, no doubt at all. Yes. So we are going to see how those 10 to 12 questions are asked, if you ask me. Right? I repeat, 10 to 12 questions, a simple and straightforward questions. This IR, international relations in prelims, the nature of questions, if you ask me, where we are talking about India's participation in international organization. So far the questions came in this way. Otherwise, in what way it is getting impacted by that particular dynamics? Sorry. Very recently India became non-permanent member, the Security Council. This is not the first time, well, of United Nations organization. And recently Pakistan also complained about India. This is not the first time. This India is, disturbing our peace, indulging in cross-border terrorism. This accusation, how we met, how we reply. And, India acquired recently membership in nuclear supplier groups very recently. And very well, because we are not the signatory to nuclear non-proliferation treaty or comprehensive test ban treaty. How come India can become member? All these questions ultimately. And also, that very recently ASEAN and associated economic cooperation, where we are talking about this RCEP member, where India refused to be part of member, opposing China especially, and it did not participate. All those things, the very environment related aspects, the United Nations Environment Program, United Nations Framework Convention on Climatic Change, and well, Rio de Janeiro Summit, Montreal Protocol. This is Kyoto, a place in Japan, Kyoto Protocol, and it talks about the mitigation of those pollution, emission reduction. United States of America came, the most polluters in the world did not sign this. What way we face this is the India's participation in the international organization or multilateral treaties. Even you normally get questions from that. And the diplomatic agreements, very well, this is what we are going to elaborate mains also. Any foreign leader visiting India, Indian leader visiting foreign governments, ultimately what are all the agreements signed. When the United States of America 2008 Indo-US Civilian Nuclear Cooperation Agreement, we call the very 123 agreement here. And also that with SEPA, SECA, Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement, different levels of economic integration. Then we talk about the Free Trade Agreement. All these things, that the agreements, India became part of it. Otherwise, foreign leaders visiting India, that all round, all dimensions of those agreements, that becomes your question. But simple and straightforward because it is prelims. And bilateral and multilateral, it's that it may be between two nations, multilateral. Maybe just now we said the Kyoto Protocol, the multilateral treaties, the Geneva Convention, and maybe the European Union recently, the data privacy law became signatory, and we also wanted that sort of law here in India, because there should not be data violation, given the fact even the very India opposing the Chinese apps on these grounds, compromising sovereignty. Otherwise our the privacy of individuals getting violated. Otherwise data theft we are talking about. The same arguments in those days when we were talking about Aadhaar. So the especially the data protection law, it may be part of multilateral agreements. Any aspect, maybe it is the socio-cultural, UNESCO, UNICEF, UNIDO, or World Trade Organization related agreements, or nuclear energy related aspects, or even that the environmental aspects. It's not only there may be renewable energy resources, whatever may be, and given the tropical position of India, it has got its own advantage. And the geopolitical shift also we are talking about, we are going to elaborate further. So it may be the agreements may be between the nation or with other nations, more than two nations, or sometimes it becomes part of the multilateral treaties and its outcome, and in what way India benefits out of it. Otherwise, India's contribution over those agreements, these are all our question. So the various agreements happen in the last 2 years, and last 1 year is very, very important. I think newspapers that support you more, that's more than sufficient. So all these agreements, in what way it's going to affect India's interest, whether it is the logistics or maybe outcome of the globalization, global trade, export, import, what we are talking about, the environmental aspects, or foreign direct investment we are talking about, or any measures introduced part of World Trade Organization, how it is going to be against the subsidy mechanism, the trade facilitation protocol, everything what we are talking about. So, or it may be external or internal security threats sometimes. Otherwise, violation of the taxation, taking safe havens tax, the Mauritius route we are calling, and everything. Maybe in what way it's going to be useful for tackling the pandemic, and given we are working on vaccination too, yet to evolve. So all this, how, in what way it's going to affect India's interest. It's not simply signing the agreement. The outcome, is it really beneficial to India, Indian people? In what way? Yeah, otherwise, it is going to be win-win situation or symbiotic. Are we compromising the diplomatic values, peace and amicable living, unity in diversity, or democracy, or Vasudeva Kudumbakam? The very principle, maybe the Panchsheel policy, core principles we are talking about. So everything, in what way we uphold our traditional values. All these things, matters we are talking about. So questions related to that in prelims, it is going to be simple and straightforward. Beyond that, geopolitical changes. What is geopolitics? Very well. The nation governments trying to utilize its own geographical advantage. Say, for example, very well, the Saudi Arabia, and because of its, the oil resources and its proximity to sea, so that it can transport very well. It's completely dominating that Middle East region. The Saudi Arabia is dominating the resources it could command. But now, well, there is a shift, there is a change. Now Saudi Arabia is loosening its own ground because the exhaustion of the fossil fuel. Otherwise, that the greenhouse gases addition in the atmosphere, global warming, it may contribute. Ultimately, each and every nation that worried about this the environmental degradation. Ultimately, now they are working for renewable energy resources, alternative energy resources. And beyond that, the availability of gas, natural gas, especially Iran, Russia, now they are going to take advantage of the gas resource they have, even shale gas in the United States of America. So now the nation hitherto, that exercise the power because of its geographical advantage, it may be loosening its ground to some other nations because probably these new nations, because of their advantage over the natural gas, or tropical countries with the solar power generation, they may definitely, or any country which has got control over technology, like as we discussed earlier, artificial intelligence or robotics or even big data. We are talking about all those, they may try to control. So it is geopolitical advantage, the shift in change, the geopolitical shift we are talking about, that when it's happening in the neighborhood, or even in the neighborhood, extended neighborhood, we are talking about Central Asia, and which has got untapped vast resources. So the future is going to be completely controlled by that's what people say in another theory, Eurasia, the that end of Europe plus the beginning of Asia, that particular region, especially Central Asia, which is going to dominate the sphere in future. So these are all the things we are talking about. So the questions, but it is prelims. It's going to be simple and straightforward objective type questions. So this IR hitherto we spoke about prelims level. Now it is in mains level. What we spoke, what we discussed, For prelims, it is objective type, whereas in mains, you know well, it is going to be quite descriptive. You're going to write something. It's going to be analytical in nature. It is not what is what. It is not mere discuss. Sometimes critically evaluate, critically analyze, examine, comment. So it is that way, analytical in nature. Here, as we discussed, you got 4 questions for 50 marks. Say you got 10 marks questions too, and where you are going to write for elaborate the answer for 150 words, and you got 15 marks questions also, 2 questions. You got 250 words. It is that way. So what is this? The main syllabus, what we spoke, it is in depth we are talking about. So the bilateral, regional, global groupings and agreements involving India are affecting India's interests. India and its neighborhood relations, the effect of policies, politics of developed and developing countries on India's interests, Indian diaspora. This is part of the syllabus. Let me repeat, important international institutions, agencies, fora, their structure and mandate. Right. So this, bilateral, regional, global groupings, agreements, just now we have seen part of prelims, but it is in-depth, analytical, same stuff, but it is not simple or straightforward question in mains you face, rather depth, analytical, descriptive in nature you're going to face. So you know very well what's happening in this. You got introduction now. So this talks about the bilateral regional groupings in India's relations with all countries in the world, not only neighborhood, all countries in the world in all dimensions: socio-economic, cultural, technological, political, environmental. The economic, we said, there comes trade, commercial, maybe science and technology. So all round we are talking about. So it may be engaging the region or engaging the whole globe, international fora. So regional to international level, we are talking about relations and various diplomatic agreements, that India signed. Otherwise, foreign leader visiting India signing, maybe part of various international institutions, the Asian focused Asia Infrastructure Investment Bank, where China has got major stakes, well, and BRICS, to take care of our financial needs. It's not alternative to the Western focused financial institutions, but that we should take care of our own needs at the Asia level. For that, we took some measures. We are talking about new development bank, part of this BRICS also. Yeah, as we spoke, foreign leader visiting India, Indian leader visiting foreign nation in different official capacities, accordingly agreements, and various things happening. India specific, waiver. Sometimes that happened part of CATSA. You talk about American adversaries, through Sanctions Act. We talk about. And what happened? India was given special waiver by United States of America. So though when we were trying to get the S4, the anti-missile tanks, very well to upgrade our defense or strategic position, and also we were given waiver to acquire oil from Iran. But whereas that the Iran was given sanction very well by United States of America. So India specific waiver. This and all what matters to India, how India benefits out of global fora or global interactions. So these are all our important points to be kept in mind. And when we talk about India's neighborhood, the next topic we are talking about, this is whole main syllabus. Next is India and its neighborhood we are discussing now. The neighborhood, it's not only the landlocked neighborhood and also maritime neighbors like our own Sri Lanka, Maldives nearby we are talking about. And when we talk about landlocked neighborhood, maybe from Afghanistan to this in Myanmar we are talking about, or even the northern portion China. It is apart from our Nepal, Bhutan, and also that the maritime neighbors, of course, the Maldives, and our relationships with them. It may be bilateral from ancient times, time immemorial, because that the Southeast Asian countries, the homogeneity in civilization, our time immemorial connection, even the South Indian, the kingdoms, Chera, Chola, Pandya, especially the Chola went up to all Southeast Asian countries, well, the Angkor Wat, Cambodia, the temple, and the Kadaram, a place in Malaysia, and even the Sri Lanka, the Buddhism, the went there. All those things we are talking about, the cultural, civilizational connectivity from ancient times until date. And today we are talking about our own conflict with Nepal, because they accuse as if we took away Buddha from them. So all these things we are talking about, and the conflict, that over Kalapani portion, and our Chinese conflict, even Sri Lanka and its policy that we are going to discuss. So and the China's aggression, the border areas and conflict, and very recently, the Pakistan, the very Sikhism, the holy place, the shrine, Kartarpur corridor recently opened, and how that. So in spite of the conflict between India and Pakistan, there are the peaceful measures happening, and in spite of the Pakistan's complaints in United Nations organization that India is indulging in cross-border terrorism, it's all you come to know. So the Nepal's conflict, now Nepal's leaning towards the communist China. Everything we are talking about. Yes. So, this, it's not only the questions of prelims of IR straight away, and that simple we talk. Even in the main syllabus, by seeing the syllabus, you will understand the core meaning. So, for example, say effect of policies and politics of developing countries on India's interests, Indian diaspora. It is a straightforward, self-explanatory topic. You can understand very well how. So let me give you a lot of examples. That's recently you would have seen. Just now we spoke the issue between India and Nepal. What happened? The economic blockade. They accuse that they got affected by the Indian measures. Sometimes that we forgot to take care of them. That also became a problem. And recently India's abrogation of Article 370, otherwise restructuring of Jammu Kashmir. So the territorial claim over some portions, otherwise a particular portion is demanded or claimed by both India and Nepal, the very region Kalapani, and it has gone to the extent of altering its maps. And when they were talking about new constitution, which is going to be part of it, and the Nepal is leaning towards the communist China, and our own conflict with China, enemy's enemy friend, even the Chinese investments in Pakistan, and the Pakistan, and except India, most of the countries joined that Belt Road initiative, and even Bangladesh. So all these that the Nepal, Bhutan, maybe taking the advantage of India's that naval facility or maritime facility, but in spite of that, the equation changes. So this is the thing we are talking about. It's any measure taken by Nepal and its impact on India, or any measure taken by India and its impact on neighborhood we are talking about. And beyond that, the recent two brothers ruling Sri Lanka, recent elections that gave a tremendous victory to this Rajapaksas, and that the devolution of power to the provincial administration, the abrogation, the 13th amendment of the Sri Lankan constitution, and its impact on the northern part, where Tamilians, who has got ethnic connectivity in South India, and the South India politics is completely influenced by this EDM, separate EDM, and those days LTTE, and it has got that LTTE, and the killing of assassinating our leader Rajiv Gandhi. So all these things we are talking about. So it is neighborhood connection, and the 19th amendment and 20th amendment also came into discussion now, because when the absolute majority, absolute power Rajapaksas have, they may change the constitution like anything. It may have its own impact on India, especially South India, and the fishermen community, the Tamilians residing there. And in spite of this, India's engagement, whether we should engage, Sri Lanka as between relationship between India and Sri Lanka, or looking at Sri Lanka from South Indian perspective or Tamilian perspective. So many things. And apart from that, the Indian investments in Sri Lanka, India's goodwill gesture. So many things we are talking about. It is India's neighborhood related things, well. And beyond that, we talk about the international relations syllabus, where the effect of policies and politics of developed countries. Of course, the Trump administration recently announced It's not recently, it's going on. When Trump came into the political, the US politics, ultimately it has become a lot of controversial things. And even today, that the Black Lives Matter, the I Can't Breathe, George Floyd, all those things, which is going to have its impact on the forthcoming US elections. And especially the immigration policy, H-1B visa, workers visa, and our own Indians residing in the United States of America, and impact on them. Otherwise, multinational companies or even universities, that getting affected because of that, given COVID times. Even they were given, permission to conduct online sessions also, all those. So any policy or politics of this developed or developing nations and its impact on Indian interest or Indian diaspora living there, because they live there, they enrich, they add value to the Indian standards there, and they bring, that FDI, venture capitalism, remittances. Ultimately, that works towards betterment of India, and they also contribute for the welfare of United States of America. They become notable personalities. So all these things, we are talking about. And that this is the last topic of that international relations, the main syllabus, important international institutions, agencies, fora, and their structure, and what is the mandate for which it has been created. United Nations Organization and its various associated agencies, and the P5 nations, any leader, foreign leader visiting India, Indian leader visiting foreign nation, there will be one constant, the concept under discussion, reforming United Nations Organization. Otherwise, making United Nations Organization as a relevant global body. Otherwise, how the Security Council can be expanded so as to accommodate the countries like Germany, Japan, South Africa, Brazil, so that all this emerging markets, they may have their own say. Otherwise, 1/6 of the world population, India, is not finding its own the right place in the global fora. Otherwise, already this United Nations Organization has been accused as if the puppet of USA, and it's also facing a lot of fund shortages. Otherwise, all these international institutions are, dancing to the tunes of the developed world. That's the accusation. They are not taking care of the needs of, developing or underdeveloped world or East Asian economies. So that's why now mushrooming of Asia Infrastructure Bank, Investment Bank, or even a new development bank, part of BRICS, and given Asian Development Bank already dominated by United States of America or the Japan. So we are talking about all these things. How to make all these international institutions real a multilateral fora. So all this, I think that probably it would have enriched your understanding about international relations, I believe. So it's just beginning. I try to present in layman language, and you need not worry, because in future sessions we are going to see letter and spirit. So as a person, civil service aspirant, who want to become topper by scoring more marks in international relations, whether it is prelims or mains, even in the interview part of mains, you can with thorough understanding, you can put forward your ideas properly. And for that, what should I do? If you ask me, the reference material, I think everyday reading of newspapers, especially editorials, you got wonderful articles, write-ups there, and watching in your free time all Rajya Sabha, TV debates related to the very syllabus. Now you are very thorough with, I believe. And to make it a hobby, and you can also that rely on some commercial guides, the international relations like Pavanit Singh, and books written by David Malone, and the Pax Indica of Shashi Tharoor, and even C. Raja Mohan, and the Modi's World, and this and all, I think more than sufficient to enrich your understanding, so that you can score wonderful marks in international relations. Wishing you all the very best and best of luck. Welcome you once again to Unacademy. And before going there, and you can use my referral code SUCCESS. This is SUCCESS Sampath, so far interacted with you, and I'm going to interact with you in various courses in future. And you can also watch me in special sessions apart from this, the YouTube channel. You can use my referral code SUCCESS so as to avail 10% discount. I strongly, heavily recommend Iconic program, so that the more in touch, more you get. The 2 years program with personalized coach and with planner, schedule, feedback mechanism, part of that iconic program, I'm pretty sure you will be topper. You will get all India ranks utilizing Unacademy platform. Unacademy, the largest, the best India's online education platform. Welcoming you all the very best. Thank you so much. Thank you.